So a couple of things you guys heard Eddie speak yesterday. There's been a lot of great talk about technology. There's some fancy robots and pretty shiny technology here in automation. Just a little bit of disclosure. If you're looking for automation and fancy stuff, that's not here. That's going to be over there. However, if you want to learn a little more about making the most out of your automation, you definitely stick around. So you guys ready to go? There will be some participation involved. There might be some free stuff, so I'm going to need a little participation just to set you up. So a couple of things. Let's talk a little bit about implementation. You guys all do implementations, right? Yes. So this cycle should look very, very familiar to you in terms of what our phases are. How many of you have ever gone through design, development, and config? You get through testing, you get through user acceptance testing. You're about here. Your last round of user acceptance testing, go live, is about 2 weeks away. And you've got someone in the back of the room, it's usually the quiet guy, saying, excuse me, I haven't seen X yet. And X is anything. X is, excuse me, I haven't seen, we need to handle multi-SKU cases on day one. I haven't seen that yet. Or, excuse me, we need to ship out internationally 8 times a year. I haven't seen that yet either. And that's a problem. That's when you're about here. And you realize you missed a requirement and you're 2 weeks from go live. That ever happen to anybody? Yeah. Okay, where did we go wrong? Anyone? Give that girl a little something for me, Derek. We might have gone wrong in design. We could have gone wrong elsewhere. What we're going to talk about today is about design and making design a little bit better and what you can do to make some benefits there. So a few things. In order to talk about making design better, we're first going to talk about design in its current state, right? How many of you have been in design sessions? Show of hands. How many of you have been in more than one? All right, so design current state, right? Starting here. Usually it's a couple weeks on the calendar, right? Not 1, not 2, not 3. Usually it's several hours a day, right? And in terms of participants, we usually have operations and business, right? Room full of people. We usually have IT. We usually have our vendors, right? So not quite the royal wedding, but usually everyone wants an invitation to this party. You're always having conversations. Are you going to design? Are you going to design? Like everyone talks about it. We plan ahead. Everyone knows when it is. Hey, everybody, design's August 6th. It's multiple weeks away. We've got lunches catered. We're really good at that. We've got high-level agendas made. So let's talk a little more about actual design. Design starts. Usually we start Monday morning, 8 a.m. It's receiving. You're about an hour into the discussion, and all of a sudden you realize, you know what? We can't handle a certain requirement. And we look around for Mary. Hey, you know what, Mary? The application can't handle the exact requirement. Can we make a change? You're looking for Mary. Mary's missing. And the problem with that is, you know what? Mary's on vacation for 2 weeks. We can't get an answer. Is this familiar? Who's got parking lots, right? Let's add our first item to the parking lot. And let's talk about our first pitfall. We have a missing Mary. Or we have a missing decision maker. So fast forward a little bit. It's now Wednesday. We're talking about inventory and inventory control, right? So all of a sudden now you've got a problem here where you're talking about an issue with variances. Hey, what's my cycle count variance? I don't know. Nate says it's 20% of units. Justin says it's $500. And Derek says, you know what? It's the lesser of the two. We don't know what it is. How many of you guys have done this in design? Do you guys have design at your distribution centers ever? Yeah? And you ever pull anyone in off the floor? Oh, hey, you know what? We got Fred. Let's go get Fred off the floor. He's going to fix this. He's going to tell us what the right requirement is. So we go get Fred. And remember, Fred is walking into this. Fred is walking into a room full of people he doesn't know. And all of a sudden, Fred has become the man of the hour. Hey, Fred, tell me about inventory control. Hey, Fred, what is our variance for cycle counting? Hey, Fred, we need to know all about the requirements. I don't know about you, but Fred's probably feeling a little like this right now, right? So Fred is the man of the hour. I don't care what questions you ask him in the next half an hour. He is only going to give you a half-truth. It's not because he doesn't know the answer. It's going to be because he wasn't prepared. He may not know the whole context. He may not even know what design is. So that's our second pitfall. We had a missing Mary. Now we have a flustered Fred. And we're going to add something else to our parking lot. Let's keep going with that. And now we've got incorrect incorrect or wrong people. We have people who weren't prepared. And now we've got missing requirements, and our parking lot is bigger than our decisions that we've made moving forward. Now bear with me one more time. We keep going. We're finally on Friday. This is Friday of week 1 of design, right? And it's Friday, we're probably talking about outbound by now, and you know what? We're talking to the vendor. We need to know what our outbound operations look like. Hey, you guys have any reports for me? What can we see? And you know what? The vendor says, hey, we don't have it. We don't have it ready. Our demo environment is down. We've got stuff that's missing. And now let's add one more item to our parking lot. And more questions. So now our third piece, we had a missing Mary, we had a flustered Fred, now we have an absent application. We've got stuff that we're not seeing that we really need to see. And now we can push more items onto our parking lot. So, for those of you who've done design, and that was pretty much everyone, who has had this happen? Missing Marys, flustered Freds, absent applications, your parking lot is jam-packed and full, right? Okay. I think we can do better. So my question to you is, I'm gonna need a little participation. I'm seeing a lot of people. You guys ready to participate? So here's my goal. My goal is to kind of shut down the Discovery Center and have everyone looking over here. So you gotta help me out, okay? So I'm gonna ask one question throughout this presentation, and my question is this, it's what can we do? You have one answer, it's 4 words. Are you ready? Here's my question, we're gonna practice. What can we do? Repeat after me. We, with feeling, can, come on, do. What can we do? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. What can we do? We can do better. Come on. Derek, I heard Derek. I can't give free stuff to Derek. He works for us. Come on. What can we do? We can do better. There we go. I'm going to keep asking this question. You all know the answer. It's so simple. So simple. So we can do better, but how? So in terms of design, we all said, hey, design's kind of a problem. We're having problems here. Who's done anything before design? Be honest. And I don't mean like sitting down over coffee an hour before design begins, throwing a spreadsheet of requirements together. That isn't what I mean, right? I see a hand. Investigation? Okay, Derek, give that gentleman a little something. So I'm going to talk about a topic, and this is what the topic is about. It's pre-design. I want you to say pre-design. Pre-design. One more time. Pre-design. Yes, it is that important. It is that important. I'm giving this a title. So what is it? This is a time where you guys take a couple of extra steps to actually do some prep work, do some planning, to make your design sessions better, which is going to help your implementation altogether. You know, we have all of this amazing robotics and animation, and I'll tell you what, if you don't plan well, that stuff isn't going to matter. And if you want to do it well, you have to go a little bit old school. You have to do some planning, you have to do some work up front. Agile is great, but again, you have to do some of this work up front. So there's 3 components I'm going to talk about, and I have about 10 minutes left. So the first component is going to be participant planning. Say that, participant planning. Participant planning. Second is going to be subject matter expert, or SME preparation. SME preparation. And application access. Yes, you need to say that, yes. Yes, okay, good. If you haven't been in any kind of presentation I've done, there is definitely participation required. So we're going to go through each of these. Remember, we talked about missing Marys, flustered Freds, absent applications. That's what we're going to cover with each of these topics. So for each component, I'm going to talk about what you need, and I'm also going to talk about different steps involved. All right, so first one, participant planning. You need leadership. You need steering committee. You need project sponsors, project owners, and you are going to need a little bit of time. The goal with pre-design is not making a brand new phase of implementation. That's not the goal. You're going to learn that the time required is going to be, you can make it as much or as little as you want, depending on the outcome. It's super flexible. And in terms of what you need to do, you need to figure out who is participating in design. Who are your participants? I'm saying the word participant. I am not saying attendee. There's a very big difference. If you've been in design and you have a participant, you've got active conversation, you have decisions being made, and you have progress, and you're moving forward. How many of you are in design when there's 3 people talking over here, and you have 12 people over here not even engaged, and they're IMing each other in the back of the room? Those are attendees. Those are not participants. What can we do?
We can do better.
We can do better. Yes, we can. When you identify your key stakeholders, your SMEs, and your decision makers. And remember to choose wisely. If you've got a choice between 2 people that can be your SME in a certain area, choose wisely. Think about participant and who will be engaged in discussion, and think about attendee. Second thing is creating a backfill plan for your participants. We know that design is weeks long. We know it is every day from 8 to 5. You say, everyone, like when you go to design, you say goodbye to your colleagues. You're not going to see them for a while. Hey, everybody, I want to design. Just because you accepted a meeting request for 3 weeks doesn't mean your day job goes away, right? So in terms of backfill, be smart about this. When you, again, everyone knows design is August 6th. Guess what? Do something now. Do something now about it. You can cross-train people from other departments. You can leverage other people in the same department. So use it as an opportunity for career growth for someone else and giving that participant time to actually participate in design. And our last piece is creating detailed agendas, and detailed is important. I see agendas for designs all the time. Receiving on Monday, put away on Tuesday, inventory on Wednesday, right? You guys see the same ones. What can we do? Yes, we can. Make the agendas detailed. There's a big difference between saying receiving is Monday from 8 to 5. I don't want to be in that session. Say, you know what, Monday, 8:30 to 10 is case level receiving, 10:30 to noon is SKU level receiving, and 1:30 to 5 is returns processing. I'd rather be in those sessions. I know what is being talked about and when. I know the level of detail that's going on. So, phase 1, component 1, participant planning. Next is SME preparation. However, what was the first component? That's the topic. Who said pre-design? Give her a little something. What was the first component of pre-design? Give him a little something. Nope, he gets something. He gets the other something. So there's a something and another something. So again, more things to give away. Now we will talk about SME preparation. What do we need? Yes, we need SMEs. Yes, we need a little bit of time. So again, when you are talking about identifying SMEs, make sure you identify these folks by name. It's about giving responsibility by name and by area. Hey, Damon, you're responsible for receiving. Quinn, you're responsible for inventory control. Make it clear. Make it clear what they own. In terms of steps, do not pull your SMEs to the water cooler and say, hey guys, design is August 6th, bring requirements. What can we do? You can do better. What can we do? Yes, we can do better. Have a meeting and have an overview meeting. Many of us, I've been in too many design sessions to remember, but that isn't true for everyone. You have to take it back to the beginning for everyone. Level set everything. Make sure they know where they need to be, what they're doing, and what they need to come ready with. And on top of that, let's talk a little bit about requirements. If I say to you, hey, bring requirements on August 6th, I guarantee I'm going to get different things from everyone. If I talk to different people, Scott's probably going to bring me some standard operating procedures. I think Jason's going to end up bringing me some reports. And I know Nate's just going to show up and wing it. So make sure, think about something like template documents. Help your folks out. Not everyone is organized in thought. So and by template, this doesn't need to be anything crazy. This can be a checklist. Hey everybody, why don't you bring your tasks by day, by week, and by month? What about by quarter or year end? That's where those aha things get stuck and those requirements get missed. What about bring your reports? Bring your standard operating procedures. Think about anything that gives you a headache now you want to see better. Give these folks time to think about it. Don't wait until the last minute. It's a week before design and you throw this on them. Give them a little bit of time. Next thing, do not leave your SMEs unattended until design begins after you set that meeting. So I play a little game. It's my guilty pleasure. I play Fallout Shelter on my iPad. Anybody play Fallout Shelter? Yeah. In this game, I'm an overseer of a vault. I have dwellers in my vault. I send them to the wasteland. I send them to get weapons. I send them to get food and scavenge whatever they can. And you know what happens? When I send them out and I don't check on them, I get a little notice. Excuse me, you've had someone in the wasteland for a while. You might want to check on them. By the time I got that, it's too late. There's a problem. Do not leave your dwellers in the wasteland unattended. Don't leave your SMEs unattended until design. Have checkpoint meetings. Make sure they are doing what they need to do. Make sure they are making progress. Yes, it's babysitting a tiny bit, but you're also going to ensure that when you get to design, your stuff is ready. And also think about having meetings with people in the same area. If you've got an IT and a functional resource, both on inventory control, have them review their work together. And the other thing to think about with the SME choice here, this isn't the time to make the SME the new hire you brought in 3 days ago, right? They're not going to be your SME. Let them learn from your SME, and then they can take that information and move on later. And our last piece is creating a repository. So these guys are pulling together standard operating procedures, all of this amazing information, give them somewhere to put it. And also, that also does not mean creating a folder for the SharePoint. Make sure you give them a little bit of organization on where this stuff can go so you can find it later and make some use out of it. So before we get to our third component, what was component number 1? That's the topic. What was the first component? First component, participant planning, Derek. What was our second? What did I just speak about? SME preparation, we want those guys prepared. Our third one is application access. So what do we need? We need the application, and yes, we need access. And we might need a little bit of time here, not too much. Don't assume, again, I'm gonna keep saying this, everyone knows when design is. Everyone knows that date all the time. Don't assume your vendor is going to show up fully prepared to show you everything you need. Make sure, what can we do? We can do better. Have a meeting with your vendor and talk about just this. Set clear expectations on what you need to see. Do you want to see reports? Do you want to see every screen, or do you only need to see certain screens? Do you want to see security features? Do you want to see configuration elements? You know, you guys might be using yard management and your yard team is solid. You know what? If we don't see all the yard screens, I don't care. But maybe your pickers struggle. Hey, you know, we really need to see every picking scenario. We need to see it on screen. It takes time to set up data to demo every screen for you. So make sure you guys think through what you need to see. Give your vendors the time to set up the data to make sure that they can show you what you need. It will make both of you that much more successful. Next, that's not a typo. It's important. Make sure, again, think about what you need. Communicate that clearly so they can come and they can bring it. Third, let's talk about installing the application on site. A few things here. If you guys are upgrading, this is a little more feasible. You will already have the infrastructure in place. You will already have the hardware in place. So that way you can actually bring and install the application already. Newer implementations, maybe not. That's why you go back to here. But if you can install your own application already, think about the ability to do a little more in that environment. Think about potentially starting to do some config in that environment as you're going through design to test a couple of functions out. So it's possible. All right, let's talk about our 3 design components. Number 1, participant planning. I want you guys to say that. Participant planning. That was your missing Mary. You have the right people in the room. You have decision makers in the room. You have everyone you need. And I said participants, not attendees, right? Next, SME preparation. Say that for me, SME preparation. Don't leave your dwellers in the wasteland unattended. Go and check on your SMEs, make sure they're doing what they need to do and when they need to do it. And our last piece, application access. Again, make sure you talk to your vendor, communicate what you need so they can bring you what you need at the same time. So, a couple things, what now? I'm sure a couple of you are sitting there thinking, well, you know what? We just upgraded. We don't need to do this. Or we're not upgrading for 18 months. Or we're not doing an install, for a year and a half. I'm going to say it doesn't matter. So think about the stuff that I talked about. identifying who your SMEs are, making sure you have your current systems documented. So this is all as is state. This is nothing new. You can leverage your own people to do all of this work in-house, and you don't need to wait till the last minute. And if you think about, again, design several weeks away, don't wait till 2 weeks ahead of time. Don't put that pressure on folks if you don't need to. And if you have your requirements documented, it's probably something you should have. Probably something you should have on your current as-is environment. A couple things, talk with us. So we are Veridian. We are an implementation partner of Manhattan's. And if you all look back to the right, I got Corey back there. He's giving me a wave. Jump up and down, Corey. There he is. So make sure you come by and see us. We are also giving away some AirPods and some additional free things if you come get scanned. In addition, this presentation is a Cliff Notes version of a white paper we have on pre-design. So this is just a small piece of a much larger topic that we'd like to share information with you about. If you come by the booth and get scanned, we'll make sure we can get you a copy of that. And no matter what, it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're doing pre-design, whether you're doing design work, what can we always do? Yes, you can. So thank you guys. My name's Abby. I'm with Veridian. I'll be back over there. I appreciate your time.